It's time for another round of live, local, play-by-play coverage of Southwest Metro Sports on PSB Media.
Taken away by Spinner, potential shorthanded opportunity. Here comes Steven Spinner, the captain. Shot,
oh! Great blocks in front of him, just waits for him to develop, breaks an arm tackle, and will dive for the end zone.
Watch the teamwork, tradition, and all-out competition unfold live on any streaming device.
Annie with it, gives off for Zulsdorf through traffic. Here's an opportunity, score! Oh boy.
PSB Media's coverage of tonight's game is brought to you by The Malt Store, Umbria Gourmet Pizzeria, Athlete PT, Noodles & Company of Eden Prairie, The Sun Current, The Tavern on 4 and 5, and in partnership with Minnesota Football Magazine, the Pioneer Press, and BEC TV.
And it drops! The game is over! Forrest Blake wins 1-0 in the bottom of the 10. Brett Gravel is the hero.
Catch all of the action all season long on your home for Southwest Metro Sports. PSB Media.
Brady Shue up from his defense. We'll leave it for Graham. Graham works his way and scores in overtime. Michael Graham with the game.
Game time is coming up next.
And good evening. It's time for high school hockey here on PSB Media as we have what's normally a good football matchup. Cretin-Derham Hall at Eden Prairie, but tonight these two teams will be taking the ice for a boys hockey showdown. Two squads with high expectations this season. Good evening, my name is Brett Johnson, joined alongside Kevin Hagstrom running camera and also chiming in every once in a while with some color commentary. Coming into the matchup, Eden Prairie is rated number 7 in the state. They're undefeated at 4-0 on the season. Cretin-Derham Hall rated number 14 in the latest Let's Play Hockey poll. They are 2-2-1 on the season. Taking a look at the starting goaltenders for tonight, Eden Prairie will go with Sean DeRocher, 3-0 on the season with a 133 goals against average, 950 save percentage. Stopped all 22 shots that he faced against Farmington for his first career shutout. And Cretin-Derham Hall will be going with their standout goaltender Trent Jans. He's 2-2-1 on the season, 265 goals against average, 891 save percentage, and also 2 shutouts on the year. As we're underway from Highland Arena here in St. Paul for high school hockey, as Cretin will start with it in the Eden Prairie zone, where it's picked up by the Eagles momentarily. Louis Rail to try to chase it down will be helped out by Tyler Safran. Rail will spin around, play it back over to Andy Aguilar. Aguilar to Middlestad. Middlestad will weave his way into the Cretin-Derham Hall zone. The lefty takes a big wrist shot and a nice save made by the goaltender Jans, trying to go high glove side. And thanks for joining us here on PSB Media. Eden Prairie making a rare trip to the East Metro, where they stay either in the West or South Metro for most of their games, at least the road games. Graham plays it back to Lieberman, has an open lane towards the net. His shot was turned away by Jans. Lieberman will dump it into the corner, Middlestad. Middlestad trying to dig it out. He's pressured by Brett Hubner. There's Hubner on his backhand. Lost it. Eden Prairie with possession across to Lieberman. Top of the circle, and another wrist shot and a glove save made by Trent Jans. So a couple of wrist shot saves that he's made with his high glove.
Eden Prairie in last couple of games got off to quick starts and already putting the pressure on this Cretin-Derham Hall Raiders defense. Been very successful when they score first, dating back to last year. Just 1 loss and I believe about 17 tries.
Yeah, very good team when they score first. In fact, the only time they didn't score first was where they scored first and lost was against Egan in the 3rd place game of the state tournament last year. This line on the ice as it'll be Lawrence playing it up to the point to Bolden. Now there's another wrist shot and a save made by Jans. He's had to make a couple of good saves in this one. That was Nolan Sullivan with that wrist shot from the slot. Sullivan scored his first varsity goal against Farmington back on Saturday. A good pressure being put on by the Eagles early on in this game from Highland Arena in St. Paul. Hunter Johannes in the face-off circle for the Eagles. They win it. And another long shot, a save made by Jans. That was Noah Deraney.
Figure the percentages. At some point, one of these shots is going to go past, or Jans will give up a rebound. So just keep throwing in. Good look so far.
Well, at least so far in the game, Jans has had a pretty clear vision of all those shots that he's faced. Cretin able to momentarily clear it out. And here comes the Raiders' Kirby Rice. Rice making a move towards the net. Rocher gave up a rebound. That shot's going to be tipped up into the netting and go out of play as the Raiders are able to pick up a shot on goal. The Raiders will try to get some pressure put on. And Cretin on the season 2-2-1. Looking at their schedule, their victories were over Eastview and Holy Angels. Losses to Matamidi and Edina, and they tied Forest Lake. Only common opponent these two teams have is Eastview. Eden Prairie beat the Lightning last week 5-3. Cretin-Derham Hall had a 1-0 overtime victory over Eastview back on Saturday. Here comes Middlestad and just offsides. He was going to try to go through the legs there of the Cretin-Derham Hall defenseman Nick Rise, but it's irrelevant with the offsides whistle. Face-off, it's pushed towards the Eden Prairie blue line. They turn it over, and Graham is able to get it right back. Here's Graham off the skate of Middlestad, and that'll slow him down just enough for an offsides whistle.
Not often that you see that tandem not in sync, but just a little bit off-target pass there from Graham to the representing the leading scorers on this Eagles team. Got off to a fast start with 5 total points in the season opener a couple weeks ago against Maple Grove.
Out in front, Cretin there to hit it away from danger. I apologize, I have some fans obstructing our camera view of the clock, so I'll tell you as best I can how much time is remaining, and we currently are at the 14:25 mark. First period, they go across to Michael Graham, and he scores! Eden Prairie leads 1-0 as they're on the scoreboard first yet again this season. Michael Graham, that's his 7th goal on the year.
Again, Eden Prairie finding a way to get on the scoreboard first. I believe they've done so in all but the Prairie Lake victory. And scoring in the first 3 or 4 minutes, it seems, just about in every period as well.
And that a few times with some very early period goals. They're all 1-0 as they continue to put on some pressure. Rice and Sullivan will try to battle it out. There's Argetsinger. Argetsinger trying to dig it out from a number of skates. He'll gain possession from the dot. Goes across, but nobody there. Here's Cole Lawrence up to the point to Lieberman. Lieberman across to Brett Boldenau. And the save is made by Jantz. And maybe I'm wrong, but didn't Graham get that goal?
Fans here beside me, you and I saw Graham. There's another goal.
There we go.
Right off the face-off. They've been so excellent all season long on the face-off, and that time slapping him past the goaltender Jans.
Boy, I look at you for 1 second getting confirmation. Got to learn to do that not when Eden Prairie has an offensive zone face-off. That's how good they've been. So 2 quick goals, and the Eagles are off to a very quick start.
It looked like that was Nolan Sullivan, but we'll wait for tentative confirmation. Again, I was also looking at Brett, but at least beyond me was the net, so had that to help me out.
A very quick start. Hunter Johannes will play it into the corner. Steen is tied up in his skates, and the Raiders will gain possession. And it goes off the skates. Excuse me, the stick of Scott Wolf now pops up into the air. And somehow that puck stayed inside the zone. Now it's Cretin going the other way, but they got denied to the blue line, and dumping it in will be Brett Hubner as the Raiders are off on a change. 13 minutes left in the first period. And Cole Lawrence will get credit for the goal, at least we think. As Steen trying to get it outside the zone. His teammate Brett Boldenau will have the puck. There's a shot from the blue line, blocked by the Cretin-Derham Hall defenseman. That's Sam Wackton, who on the season has 4 points. Working with it, Graham up to the blue line. Now will throw it into the corner. Cretin-Derham Hall will skate with it up outside their zone. Trying to dig it out from the near side. It's Sam Wackton. Wackton will just backhand it down, or it'll be picked up by Louis Rail. 2 points he has on the season, both from assists. There's Michael Graham on an aggressive forecheck. Graham lost the stick handle. Middlestad there to pick it up. Here's a shot from the dot that was blocked. Eden Prairie still keeps the puck. It's Graham trying to throw it out in front. Hit the cage though. He's trying to get it to Middlestad out in front. Andy Aguilar will spin around from the left wing. Aguilar again pinching in. He does this every once in a while. Aguilar a defenseman, but he's not afraid to lead the rush. And that time his shot was deflected up into the netting with 11:41 to go here in the first period. 2-0 Eden Prairie with the lead.
It seems like to start this contest, Eden Prairie so much more fluid, just the first getting to the puck so far. And I've seen the early results as well.
Rainey shot, a pad save made by Jantz, who's been kept very busy so far in this game. Cretin-Derham Hall head coach Jim O'Neill said coming into the season that Jantz would play a big role in any success that the Raiders would have this season. We return a lot of scores from last year's squad, including their 2 leaders from last season, Nick Rise, and also their second leading scorer as well, Brett Hubner. Cole Lawrence across the blue line. Got bobbled up by the Cretin-Derham Hall defense. They'll bank it off the half wall and get it outside the zone. Wesley Young. Pass intercepted by number 4 Smith. Tried to center it, but Eden Prairie's defense is there with good coverage. Young on his backhand, stops at the blue line and will just dump it in. Now it's Lieberman. Cretin-Derham Hall from their own blue line. Janish. Had his pass go off the stick of Scott Wolf as it's dumped in. There's Hubner from the end wall. Throws it out in front off the goal post on a shot from Jack Janish. Best chance of the night so far for the Raiders, trying to dig out of an early 2-0 hole. Went through Hastings. Now Cretin-Derham Hall will play it back down low again. Janish. Pinching in from the point was a Raider defenseman. His shot turned away. And Eden Prairie is able to get it outside the Raider zone as Hastings will dump it in. Ward for the Raiders. Being pestered by a couple of Eagle players. And again, that pass not quite on the tape to Carl Peterson. And now it's Hubner. He lost it. And it's Hunter Johannes. They'll just flip it into the zone as Eden Prairie's off on a change with 9:25 left in the first period. Eagles in front 2-0. Aguilar across center ice. And it's going to be a hand pass and a face-off in Cretin-Derham Hall's end. Noodles & Company now offers catering. If you have those holiday parties coming up, feel free to use Noodles & Company, a great way to save some money and also save the hassle of cooking, especially for those holiday parties. That's Noodles & Company. Find the link to their catering page just above your Game Tracker screen. Argetzinger able to keep it in the zone as he flings it to the corner. Hartnell up ahead to Ryan Smith. Smith able to find Nick Rise, the leading scorer from last year's squad. Rise couldn't pull the trigger in the slot through some traffic. Now it's Middlestad. Trying to go across to Argetzinger. Young will dump it in as Eden Prairie's off on a change. And so far, Cretin-Derham Hall just having some trouble receiving passes. It's been a big reason why they haven't gotten much offensive zone time. It's Andy Aguilar leading the rush. Aguilar from the dot. Centers it in front. Went off the goaltender, Brent Jans. And Eden Prairie has it back out at center ice. Lieberman across the blue line. Lieberman to the slot. Is met by a Raider defender as they're able to get it back into Eden Prairie's zone. Dangerous pass over to Alex Pizon. Pizon with Nolan Sullivan, and that'll get deflected up into the Raider bench.
Seems like Eden Prairie does have a way of maybe rushing the opposition a little bit. Such fast and determined skaters on the ice, no matter the line for Eden Prairie. And Cretin-Derham Hall still adjusting to that pace. And need to make those quicker decisions and crisper passes to try to get anything going and to slow down this Eagles attack.
Pizon dumps it in. And again, Cretin just having some trouble with those passes. Gens will play it into the zone, chased down by fellow number 9, Wesley Young. Gens still has it. Actually, excuse me, that was Kirby Rice going high on his shot. Deflected between the circles, and Eden Prairie's able to dump it into Cretin territory. Tommy Pope. His pass intercepted by Johannes. Johannes can't corral a bouncing puck. And from the near side corner, it'll be the Raiders playing it over to the far side. Can't get it outside. There's Steen trying to keep it in with his skates. It trickles into the corner, and we have our first penalty of the game as Cretin-Derham Hall is going to go on a much-needed power play, and we'll see if they can generate any offense.
Yeah, maybe that extra man off the ice will allow Cretin to move the puck a bit more fluidly, set up their offense, as you said. Barely any time of the EP zone through the first 11 minutes or 10 minutes of this period. Not outstanding numbers on the power play this season, but still have scored a few times. 4 power play goals and 22 tries.
And immediately the Raiders will lose possession.
What the Raiders have to watch out for, of course, is Eden Prairie's aggressiveness on the penalty kill. They've already got 3 shorthanded goals.
Absolutely, and already got the puck in the Cretin-Derham Hall zone. And watch out if you lose the puck near the blue line. That almost dangerously came away to Michael Graham. Now Cretin across the blue line. They've got less than 90 seconds to work with here on the power play. Rise up to the point to Wackman. Back to Rise. They go down low. And they tried to get it across to Ryan Smith, but good defense played by Nick Lieberman just to lay on the ice and help break up that pass. So the Raiders will have to reset. Approaching 1 minute left on the power play and 5:55 in the first period. Intercepted. Here comes the always dangerous Middlestad. Dangles around a Cretin defender and then momentarily lost his stick handle, but it looks like he'll at least draw a penalty. What a fancy little move there from Cassie Middlestad.
What an outstanding job, right dot, to able to juke out the defender, get him to basically freeze on his skates and commit the penalty as he laced that one between the top of the crease and the slot. Excellent stick handling, and again, a reason why on that play you're seeing him have so much success this season.
And Cretin-Derham Hall did pick up a penalty, so we'll be 4-on-4 for about 53 seconds. It's tied up in the corner. And deflected into the Eden Prairie zone. Chasing it down is Gunnar McClellan. He had the game-winning overtime goal for Cretin-Derham Hall against Eastview. Light pass up ahead to Nolan Sullivan. Should be a lot of room to work with here, 4-on-4, especially in a very cold rink here at Highland Arena. Should create some very fast ice as that long shot is turned away by Trent Jantz. Kevin, you and I were talking about before the game. It's cold in this rink.
It is cold. I'm wearing wool socks and my feet feel the floor.
Which
right through the soles of my shoe.
Make things cold for the fans, but great for the players to create some fast ice out there for some of the skill guys.
Well, that would favor Eden Prairie. I feel like they'd want to warm up the ice a little bit. Help the Raiders out.
2-0, Eden Prairie in front. And the Eagles are going to go on an abbreviated power play, and now they're 2-on-1. Middlestad to Lieberman, and he scores! Pretty basic 2-on-1 as they're able to take a 3-0 lead. Casey Middlestad able to find his teammate Lieberman. They both played on the Bantam squad last year, and it's 3-0 Eagles.
Lieberman did a great job playing that fire wagon hockey, saw the opportunity even though playing the blue line, getting up there in space in a position where Middlestad has no problem spotting him. Beautiful feed on the backside, and Lieberman has his 3rd goal of the season.
The only unfortunate part of that goal is that it came just as the Eagles were going on a power play, so they will lose the power play, but I think he'll take the goal instead.
Yeah. He'll take the guarantee instead of the chance to work on your special teams play.
Ideally, you'd like that to come just as you're 4-on-4, so you could go up 3-0, then get a power play to boot. But
right.
I think if you told Lee Smith he'd have a 3-0 lead on the road against the 14th ranked team in the state, he'd certainly take that. And watch out, it's Middlestad to Graham, and his shot goes into the netting. Oh my goodness, those are the last 2 guys in the world you want to leave 2-on-1.
Yeah, if you're Jans, you're probably shaking a little bit in your skates, even though he's got tons of experience, a great goaltender. Still, that's got to be something to stare down, or tough situation to stare down.
It's a tough play to make for the Cretin-Derham Doll defense too. When you're 2-on-1 like that, do you play the pass or play the shot? Here's Cretin-Derham Hall. That shot goes wide. Held in by Hartel. And watch out, they could be 2-on-1 again, but a nice defensive back check by Colt Nentz. And Cretin-Derham Hall's got to clean up their transition game. They've given up some odd man rushes. They have it in the Eden Prairie zone. Johannes able to block that with his stick. Backhanded over to the corner. It's picked up by Gunnar McClellan. Here's Steen. Hastings didn't see the pass coming, and it goes back over to McClellan on the far side. Plays it back to his defense as they play catch, then lose it. Watch out, it's Johannes. And he gets slammed into the wall, sandwiched by a couple of Raider players. 3:20 left in the first period. It's 3-0 Eden Prairie. Prairie denied out in the neutral zone. That will allow Cretin-Derham Hall to go off on a line change. A little fancy move there by Wesley Young to avoid the check. Able to feed Pizon on the outlet pass. Pizon still maintains possession, at least enough to force it into Raiders zone and allowed Eden Prairie to get a change. Now here comes Cretin, trying to dance his way around his check with Scott Wolf, but having none of it was the Eden Prairie defenseman. Out at neutral, it's poked in by Cole Lawrence. Pizon from the weak side, down to Lawrence in the corner. Lawrence, the feed Rail at the point. Rail goes across to Aguilar. Wrist shot through traffic, turned away by Jantz. And one of the rare times he's given up a rebound. Another long shot, another rebound given up, but it was Nolan Sullivan who couldn't get his stick on that. Sullivan showing some good hustle, that's Pizon showing some good hustle on this shift, chasing down some loose pucks. And that one just trickled across the crease. Tied up in the near side corner. Bubner will send it over to the opposite corner. Raiders having all sorts of trouble getting outside their zone, and that's at least one way to break the pressure, ice the puck. With 1:54 left in the first period.
That's about all they could do on that series. Eden Prairie certainly putting the pressure on, constantly harassing all these Raiders players, doing an excellent job in their fore and back check. And Cretin-Derham Hall has been reeling ever since that first couple of opening minutes.
Well, you said it, even they got the face-off win a moment ago, but Eden Prairie still gets possession, and that one will be deflected into the netting. The shot by Casey Middlestad. Like to email us here in the broadcast. We're at psbchannel2@gmail.com. Love to read your messages on air here on PSB. It's psbchannel2@gmail.com, psbchannel2@gmail.com. or click the link above your game tracker screen. Raiders trying to get something going, 2-on-1, and great skating ability shown by, I believe that was Ryan Smith, as he's able to draw a penalty on Brett Boldenau. Speed kills.
Most definitely. And another opportunity for Cretin-Derham Hall, trying to alleviate some of the pressure by facing just 4 Eagles out on the ice.
Times I'm sure they tell you it feels like they're facing about 8 Eagles out there with the pressure Eden Prairie's been putting on.
At every turn, there's an Eagle somewhere lurking.
A delay here at the face-off. Now the referee is ready to drop it. Cretin-Derham Hall 0 for 1 on the power play so far. And the last power play was killed off when they picked up a penalty of their own. From the far side, they'll feed it up to the point to Wackman. Go across to Smith, back to Wackman as they do a little give and go. Smith. And Andy Aguilar with a great defensive play, getting his stick on the ice and not leaving any passing outlet open. Graham can't dangle around Sam Wackman. Now it's Aguilar out at center ice. Under a minute to go in the first period as Aguilar will dump it in.
Although Aguilar was caught leaning forward, able to maintain his balance and just sweep that stick around and poke it away.
Graham will just tie it up on the far side. That's a good play here when you're shorthanded. Kill some more clock. 30 seconds to go. And again, Cretin-Derham Hall just having trouble with these outlet passes. They were looking for Cole Nets, but it deflected off his stick.
Well, the Raiders are trying short passes. Eden Prairie's getting into the passing lanes. Trying long cherry pick passes and a little too sharp for their top line player, and still haven't found a real crisp rhythm. Multiple passes in succession have not been completed.
Held in by Decker. Decker has it at the point with 16 seconds. And starting to run out here in the first period. Eden Prairie with a chance for maybe a shorthanded rush, but it'll be Sullivan just dumping into the zone with 6 seconds. Cretin-Derham Hall overshoots their pass, and it will be shot right back in, as that will be the end of the first period, with Eden Prairie on top of the Cretin-Derham Hall Raiders 3-0 here on PSBMN.com. We will take a timeout and come back and give you a summary of what went down here in the first period. You are watching high school hockey right here on PSB Media.
Woohoo! This is the best bath ever!
Larry, what's with all that racket?
I'm loving my new digs. This compost is amazing. Come on in, give it a try.
What are you talking about? Oh yeah, you weren't kidding, Larry. This stuff is great.
The Mulch Store has compost your garden, and yes, even the worms will love. Stop by any of the Mulch Store locations in Burnsville, Minnetrista, Rosemount, and Shakopee to pick up the best compost in the Midwest. Online at mulchstoremn.com. Also shop rocks, seed, soil, edging, and more. Now's the time to make your neighbors green with envy.
Store locations in Burnsville, Minnetrista, Rosemount, and Shakopee.
Hi, Grandma.
Hi, Timmy. I hope you're hungry.
Sure am, but I prefer broccoli to mushrooms.
Well, I prefer your brother to you.
Don't mess with Grandma's dishes. Mess with ours instead. Delicious dishes from around the globe that you're free to customize. Noodles & Company, your world kitchen.
The Sun Current is proud to be your community news leader for over 50 years. Each week you can read their in-depth coverage on local government, school district news, high school sports matchups, community events, and newsmakers. The Sun Current's website is now mobile user-friendly and provides breaking local news coverage daily. Check it out at current.mnsun.com.
Great food and great sports. It's the Tavern on 4 and 5 in Eden Prairie. This season, the Tavern on 4 and 5 will be showing PSB broadcasts of Eden Prairie football and hockey on their big screen TVs. So make it a night out. Get some great food while watching your Eden Prairie Eagles at the Tavern on 4 and 5. Some of their classics include the Mediterranean pizza, Tavern Turkey Burger, as well as delicious breakfasts that are served 7 days a week. That's the Tavern on 4 and 5, just blocks from Eden Prairie High School.
During this break in the action, I'd like to thank you for watching and ask for your assistance. In addition to live streaming games like this one, PSB Media also produces video commercials for clients. If someone you know is trying to grow their business, tell them to consider contacting production at psbmn.com. The internet is a powerful marketing tool, but due to its size, it can be difficult for messages to reach the right ears. Optimize their valuable time and money. PSB Video will help drive localized traffic to the client's website. Using keyword-driven content, PSB Video can improve where businesses appear in search results. Nearer to the top results means more clicks and more business. So please, tell those business owners you know to work smarter, not harder, by considering PSB Production. Find out more by emailing production@psbmn.com.
Stay current on what's going on in your local community. The Sun Current is a local community newspaper that serves several communities in the Southwest Metro, including Eden Prairie, Edina, and Bloomington. The Sun Current will keep you up to date with the latest comings and goings on your school board, city council, arts and entertainment, and community events. And make sure you check out their in-depth high school sports coverage featuring weekly articles on Eden Prairie, Edina, Jefferson, and Kennedy. From football and hockey to tennis and swimming, the Sun Current has your favorite team covered. Keep it local and visit the Sun Current website at current.mnsun.com.
I wish it was spring.
Hello, Carl.
Whoa! Who are you?
I'm the Mulch Store Genie.
Well, your entrance music makes you sound like an alien.
We Mulch Store Genies survive on grass and common.
We'll have about a half minute of power play time to work with. See if they can get some offense going as they trail 3-0. Eagles are able to push it into Raider territory. Spinning around is Boldenau. Boldenau, a good job to tie it up as this power play just about to expire, down to 10 seconds. Crossing pass kicked off by Middlestad. Nick Rise. Here's Rise, a shot from the dot, steered away by DeRocher, and Eden Prairie is full strength. So the Raider power play now 0 for 2 so far, as they're not able to cut into that Eden Prairie lead. Next Eden Prairie game we'll have for you on PSB comes up on Friday. A rematch of last year's 6th AA championship. It'll be Benilde St. Margaret's at the EP Community Center. Those two teams met, I think it was 4 times last season, including that section championship. So even though they're not in the same conference, they know each other quite well. Telling you about that, it'll be a penalty picked up on Nolan Sullivan as he'll head to the box and put Cretin-Derham Hall right back on the power play at 16-18. See what the Raiders can do here on their third power play. They'll be cleared away by the Eagles. On the right wing, it's Ryan Smith across the blue line. Smith, the backhand at Cole Gens. Roll it out, a ring around the end wall. That one with a high stick, but Cretin's able to touch it, so no whistle. Up to the point to Wackman. Wackman to the top of the circle to Smith. Back to Wackman at the point. Tries to go weak side to Rise, but again, didn't receive that pass cleanly. It's been a problem so far for the Raiders. Rise to the circle. Now fouled up by a couple of Eden Prairie players. And now it's Smith in the corner. Minute 5 on the power play. Point to Wackman. Rise's shot goes wide. They'll cycle it over to Smith. Now he lost it, and Eden Prairie's able to get it out to neutral. And they'll dump it in as they're able to get a change.
Prairie's positioning has just been outstanding all game long. Nothing can get past their defense on the penalty kill.
There's an opportunity, but the Raiders unable to bury it as it'll be dumped into the zone and picked up by Ryan Smith.
And at neutral ice, they seem to anticipate those cross-ice passes so well and stop the rush opportunities for the Raiders.
Whacked into Smith. At the center, it's Wolf. Wolf got pestered by Louis Rail. And the Eagles are able to clear it, and that should pretty much do it here for the Cretin power play with just 8 seconds remaining. And great pass, fighting off a check to Hastings, but he couldn't pull the trigger as he was being pestered himself by a Cretin player. Here's Wolf, and just offsides. As it'll be a face-off just outside the Eden Prairie zone. We do have our first email of the night. See if I can read it here on this stoppage in play. As this one was from Becca Hubner, who's watching the game from out of town. Read you the rest of Becca's message when we have a moment, as Eden Prairie will cross the blue line as Aguilar. In the corner to Middlestad. Middlestad trying to fight through some checks. And send it up to the point. Long shot. It's Middlestad in the slot. And that rocket goes just wide. I don't know how Middlestad got that much on that shot, as he was being tied up. Middlestad will circle in his own zone. His pass picked off. A little bit of a lazy pass. Now it's Haugen. And he's stonewalled by the defense. Nice shot steered away by DeRocher. One touch up to Safran, but he couldn't get possession. Now Cretin-Derham Hall. Over to the left wing to Kirby Rice. They'll dump it in. Raiders on the line change. Aguilar from the corner. Backhanded to Louis Rail. Rail turned it over. Now it's on the far side. Joe Decker passes it over to Tommy Pope. Pope trying to fight through a check, thrown right in front of the save made by DeRocher on that good centering pass. Outside of the Raiders hitting the post early in the first period, their best opportunity now a pass to Middlestad in the slot. But a good back check there by Cretin-Derham Hall.
Couple of nice series in a row by the Raiders, building momentum.
Much better second period for them, but they're in a big hole. Now it's Nolan Sullivan. Sullivan scores! What a move by Nolan Sullivan to get around the defense and then be patient enough to wait for Jantz to go down, and it's 4-0 Eagles.
And just as I said, the Raiders building some momentum. Eden Prairie quashes it. Great hustle to the open ice and near side boards. Nolan Sullivan beating the defender there and having to make a fantastic swoop across the crease move, dangling that puck and pushing it past Jantz for the 4-0 lead.
Great patience shown there by Nolan Sullivan. Well, he's going to be a key cog on this Eden Prairie team for a few years. He's just a sophomore. Now it's 4-0. And as Kevin said, that's a tough blow to take for Cretin as they had a good couple of minutes to start this first period, or second period, I should say. Here's Riley Ward. He'll dump it in. Slowed down by DeRocher behind the net. Tried to thread a kneel the Argot Singer, but Cretin-Derham Hall to pick it off and dump it in. Rocher will slow it down for Delaney. Off the half wall and held in as that shot from Flood went wide. There's Smith working his way into the slot, scores! Cretin-Derham Hall makes it a 4-1 game. As we were saying, they've been playing better here in the second period, and they capitalize by scoring a goal, as it looks like it'll be Ryan Smith picking up his second on the season.
A great job just finding some space in the low slot as he just skated between the two circles. Nobody picked him up. One-on-one essentially with good line of sight for DeRocher, but Smith just zapped that one. You saw the water bottle, if you saw the replay, pop up in the air. He plucked it off the ice and just buried it top shelf. Beautiful play there from Smith.
And here comes the leading scorer. Rise makes the move around Brett Boldenau, but a good poke check by the goaltender DeRocher. Raiders with some life. Now it's Eden Prairie across the blue line. Leaves it for Lieberman. Already has a goal tonight. His shot blocked. Good bounce back for Cretin after the great start to the second. They gave up that goal to Sullivan, but now they've responded with one of their own to make it 4-1. Trying to work their way back into this game, now trailing by 3 goals. The goal scorer Smith for the Raiders will pass it over to the right side. Now to the defenseman Flood. Flood will dump it into the zone. It's Lieberman in the corner. Graham. A few bodies, Cretin able to feed it up to the point and dump it back in. Great centering pass to Rocher, comes out and makes the save. Another good opportunity, some great opportunities for the Raiders, and that one goes off the crossbar. Now Eden Prairie's got to be careful here as the Raiders are hungry and they're knocking on the door to cut this lead in half after trailing 4-0. Lieberman lost his stick. A little soccer move there to kick that over to Graham. Safgren to Graham on the left wing. Tries to avoid a check. Graham gets it back in the slot. Now through a number of bodies, lost his stick handle. Now they'll pass it over to Scott Wolf. He'll dump it in.
It's a good tie-up by Pope to slow down Graham, who's ever dangerous into the offensive zone.
There's the man you mentioned, Pope, as they'll send it across to the left side. Back over to Pope in the corner. Off the wall, he's able to get it outside the zone. Aguilar to Rail, one touch ahead, but nobody there but a Cretin player, that's Decker. And Decker gets blasted by Louis Rail. Here's Middlestad across the blue line, avoids a check. Middlestad across, oh, and he was looking for Graham, but he couldn't quite corral that bouncing puck. Graham gets it back. Shot from the circle turned away by Jans, and the Raiders are able to clear it. What a pass a moment ago by Casey Middlestad. And here they come again. Graham fakes a slap shot. And now Safgren, I think it inadvertently helped out on that as he pushed the shot wide. Middlestad trying to poke check Hubner. Now they'll send that over to Wolf. Thrown towards the net, and oh, early whistle. That one wasn't covered up, but DeRocher will get the benefit of the doubt. And a whistle with 8:16 left. Eden Prairie ahead 4-1. Finally can read this email. This was Becca Hubner, who's watching her little brother play all the way from school in Boston. She says, "Go Raiders and go number 11." That's Brett Hubner for Cretin-Derham Hall. Having a good season with 1 goal and 4 assists. Kevin, you can do the math on that one. That's 5 points.
Yeah, that one's pretty easy.
Yeah.
Didn't need to take much beyond, like, what, 2nd or 3rd grade for that? First or 2nd grade? I don't remember when I learned numbers.
Did you need to count your fingers on that one?
Probably. Yeah, maybe even as a 4-year-old.
There you go. Here's Nolan Sullivan from the circle. Turned away. And now Cole Gens not able to clear it as Cretin-Derham Hall dumps it back in. Young, his shot goes wide. Lieberman, after the deflection, picks it up. Fans on his shot. That will allow Cretin to get it. And they lose it, and it's speared into the zone by Ryan Wild. Now an opportunity, good backdoor pass, but was broken up by the defense. I think it'd be fitting if number 10, Riley Wild, got drafted by the Minnesota Wild. Here's Argetsinger. Odd angle, throws it in front, takes a funny deflection, and it's not able to find the net.
Looked like it bounced right off the skid of Riley Wild and almost threw Jantz for a loop.
Argetsinger shot wide. Sullivan can't push it to the point. Cretin-Derham Hall, they're 3-on-2 if they hurry. Here comes McClellan. They'll just watch it go into his zone. Rise lost it. Raiders able to get that to Ryan Smith. Boy, I think if Cretin can get this deficit down to 2 before the third period, they're right back in this game. A much better second period here for Cretin-Derham Hall than the first period. Only problem is the deficit's still the same as it was back in the first period. Eden Prairie up by 3 goals.
Eden Prairie's been just so good tonight and really all season long at capitalizing on mistakes. They've got great finishers at the net, so they have the breakaway or odd man rush opportunities. They're getting a good look.
Tried to get it to the weak side to Pizon, but the Raiders read that all the way. Thrown in front by Johannes. Not sure if actually it's stuck behind the net, and referee will blow it dead with 5:54 left. I'll have to comment that it looked like Jantz didn't see it, but it was just stuck on the netting.
Cretin doing a much better job beating Eden Prairie in the offensive zone on some rush opportunities. Their passes have been more on target, and I think, too, they've been receiving the passes a little bit better. I don't know if it was, the feeling of being rushed that kind of undermined their play in the first period or what, but they couldn't hold on to some longer passes, and here doing a much better job in skating with a flurry.
Wolf to Janich, waits at the dot, and then fanned on his pass. Decker to dump it in. Boldenau to Lieberman. Now Middlestad. Three-way train to get it up the ice. Pope trying to slow down a couple of Eden Prairie players, waiting for some support. And now it's Wolf to Janich. And poked away by Nick Lieberman. Here's Pope. Actually, excuse me. Yeah, it was Pope with a shot, and Barocher able to make the save with 4:57 left. The Tavern on 4 and 5 will be showing broadcasts of Eden Prairie hockey throughout the season. If you're at the Tavern on 4 and 5 and want to watch an Eden Prairie game, just let them know. Be more than happy to put that up on the big screen TV. They'll hopefully have all 6 games at the Edina Holiday Classic being shown at the Tavern on 4 and 5. Besides that, they serve delicious food, including breakfast 7 days a week. That's the Tavern on 4 and 5. And off that play, it was the goaltender Jantz making the save on Cole Lawrence.
You know how fast Lawrence got down the ice? I couldn't even pan the camera at a reasonable speed to be able to catch what he did.
Well, here's the problem. A, we have a close vantage point, and B, it's cold in here, which creates fast ice. So
yeah.
Kind of a double whammy for you. It's made for an entertaining game, though, with a lot of odd man rushes, and I think that is thanks to the very fast ice we're getting here at Highland.
So you're telling me Michael Phelps, if he were a skater or something, I guess we'll just use skaters like Dan Jansen or whoever the current guys are. They could maybe set their records.
Or like Apollo Anton. Oh no, wasn't he a big...
But he was short track.
Yeah.
I can't even name any of the American long trackers right now.
Well, if you remember at the last Winter Olympics, I think they had just a terrible showing, didn't
Shawnee Davis, there we go. There's one long tracker.
And we're going to get a penalty coming up on Eden Prairie. Yeah, going back to that, though, wasn't that one of the big deals in speed skating was how bad the Americans performed in that event?
Yeah, I don't even think anybody finished in the top 8.
Yeah, I don't think they... Yeah, you're right, because I know they didn't have anybody medal.
It was a pretty disappointing showing when normally... Yeah, they might not be the best country in the world at speed skating, but certainly a competitive one.
Maybe they got to have Cole Lawrence out there on the speed skating team.
Just has to change his skates.
There you go. There's Lackman, shot through traffic, went wide. Hubner over to the corner. Now they go up to the point to Lackman. Across to Smith. Power play for the Raiders, 0 for 3 on the night, and without a lot of good opportunities. And a good penalty kill for the Eagles thus far. And that one took a weird deflection on the way to the net. Let's tell you about the special teams numbers while we have a moment. Cretin-Derham's all power play came into the game at 18.2%. As the rising shot from Sam Lackman went wide. Eden Prairie's penalty kill on the season, 77.8%. As the Roach are able to cover it up. So, kind of see why the Cretin power play early this season has been struggling at just 18.2. And they're already 0 for 3 on the night, and they've not had many good looks so far on the man advantage.
Yeah, they've done much better in transition, it seems, than on the set plays tonight. Trying to figure out this Eden Prairie penalty kill, that's for sure. So are a lot of teams, though.
Yeah, that was a good way to put it. 56 seconds left on the power play. Cretin-Derham Hall up to the point of Decker. Shot goes wide, takes a funny carom off the end wall, but the Eagles are able to hit it away from trouble.
Good job by Wesley Young, being in great position out in front to be able to clear that one so seamlessly and kill off some precious seconds on the power play.
Hunter McClellan will dump it in. Young to try to dig it out. 28 seconds left on the Cretin-Derham Hall power play. They feed it back to the far side corner. Now up to the point. Shot blocked. Hastings can't clear it. He gets some help from his teammate Louis Rail, who's able to flip it outside the zone. Time for maybe one last quick rush with 9 seconds left. They'll pass it over to the right wing and dump it in as Eden Prairie is full strength. 2:08 remaining here in the second period. 4-1, Eden Prairie with the lead. In a much better period here for the Raiders, and going to try to pop one in here before the second intermission. There's a howitzer that went just wide. And somehow that one got through about 3 bodies and was able to find its way towards DeRocher, who made an easy save. At least in terms of the speed of the puck, but maybe not getting through all those bodies.
Yeah, it was bouncing a little bit and traveling very slowly, and a couple players swung and just came up empty.
It's like an ephus pitch with baseball.
Tim Wakefield knuckleball.
Yeah. Tim Wakefield were a baseball player, that would be a shot.
You don't want to have a Tim Wakefield shot.
Oh, I remember back the Mighty Ducks, they had the knuckle puck. Wasn't that Kenan Thompson who did that in that movie?
I think it might have been.
Yeah. Here's
I'm envisioning his voice.
Argetsinger couldn't work his way around a couple of Cretin players as it was poked away. Now it's Deraney. Argetsinger gets tripped up trying to draw the penalty, none called. It's Sullivan. Nolan Sullivan from behind his net. And he's lucky he didn't turn that one over. And now here comes Cole Lawrence. Lawrence will stop at the circle and lost it. 1 minute remains in the second period. Raiders can't connect on that outlet pass. It's Aguilar across the blue line. Aguilar now to the corner. And he gets hit hard into the boards by Cretin-Derham Hall's leader Flood. And now that puck gets shot out of play with 45 seconds remaining.
As long as the puck doesn't come up and hit our camera, we're okay.
Exactly. Again, if you want to email us here during the broadcast, psbchannel2gmail.com. You can also click that link below your game tracker screen as we'll read your shout-outs, messages, comments on the game on air here on PSB. Also coming up second intermission, try to get you a look at some out-of-town scores as well. Busy Tuesday night here in the high school hockey world. That shot from the dot goes wide. It'll be picked up by Boldenau and lost it. It's Brett Hubner. Hubner with some relatives tuning into tonight's game. And met at center ice by number 4, Lieberman. 10 seconds left as Cretin-Derham Hall will dump it. Lieberman, one last second rush. Here's Middlestad with 1 second, and they'll run out of time as that'll be the end of period number 2 with the Eagles in front of the Cretin-Derham Hall Raiders by a score of 4-1. We'll take a timeout and have a look at second period stats and also some out-of-town scores. That's on the way next right here on PSBMN.com.
Woohoo! This is the best bath ever!
Larry, what's with all that racket?
I'm loving my new digs. This compost is amazing. Come on in, give it a try.
What are you talking about? Oh yeah, you weren't kidding, Larry. This stuff is great.
The Mulch Store has compost your garden, and yes, even the worms will love. Stop by any of the Mulch Store locations in Burnsville, Minnetrista, Rosemount, and Shakopee to pick up the best compost in the Midwest. Online at mulchstoremn.com. Also shop rocks, seed, soil, edging, and more. Now's the time to make your neighbors green with envy.
Store locations in Burnsville, Minnetrista, Rosemount, and Shakopee.
Hi, Grandma.
Hi, Timmy. I hope you're hungry.
Sure am, but I prefer broccoli to mushrooms.
Well, I prefer your brother to you.
Don't mess with Grandma's dishes. Mess with ours instead. Delicious dishes from around the globe that you're free to customize. Noodles & Company, your world kitchen.
The Sun Current is proud to be your community news leader for over 50 years. Each week you can read their in-depth coverage on local government, school district news, high school sports matchups, community events, and newsmakers. The Sun Current's website is now mobile user-friendly and provides breaking local news coverage daily. Check it out at current.mnsun.com.
Great food and great sports. It's the Tavern on 4 and 5 in Eden Prairie. This season, the Tavern on 4 and 5 will be showing PSB broadcasts of Eden Prairie football and hockey on their big screen TVs. So make it a night out. Get some great food while watching your Eden Prairie Eagles at the Tavern on 4 and 5. Some of their classics include the Mediterranean Pizza, Tavern Turkey Burger, as well as delicious breakfasts that are served 7 days a week. That's the Tavern on 4 and 5, just
very difficult to defend. Certainly I would not be able to do it.
I don't think about 95% of the players in Minnesota could defend him. He's an elite level player, already committed to Minnesota Duluth. Another D1 recruit the Eagles have is Casey Middlestad, who will be playing for the Golden Gophers in a few years. Here's Flood. Intercepted by Boldenau as he'll play that up towards center ice. Argetsinger will retreat. Here's Argetsinger through a couple of Cretin players. Argetsinger gets it in the slot, then lost it. Now Cretin able to clear it away as they'll ice the puck. So again, both these teams rated in the state polls. Eden Prairie 7, Cretin-Derham Hall 14, but there will certainly be some changes this week with Lakeville North probably taking over as the new number 1 when it was Haling scoring a hat trick to knock off the Edina Hornets 3-1 in that number 1 versus number 2 showdown last week. Here's Cretin-Derham Hall trying to get that pass in front, a little in front of Nance, and that allowed the goaltender DeRocher to stick check that in front. Hunter Johannes from the left wing. Oh, dipsy-do, and tries another move. And there's a save made by the goaltender Jantz. It's like the L1 juke button that Johannes was pressing there.
These Eagles all seem to be able to deke out any defensive player. Probably, after practice or when there's still some available ice time, just all show off against each other. See who's got the best moves.
Speaking of which, here's a 2-on-1 for Cretin. And that shot knocked away by DeRocher. Had a quiet but solid game so far for the Eagles between the pipes.
He's had a quiet game because he's faced about half as many shots as Jantz has seen.
Made some good saves though. There's Waxman. And that pass poked away by Louis Rail. Here's Safran at center ice. Smith to Nick Rise. And again, Louis Rail, this being a force there at the blue line, breaking up a couple of possible Cretin-Derham Hall rushes. He's like the reverse Drano at the blue line. That's probably the worst analogy I could come up with.
I wouldn't call it the worst. It's kind of funny, but a reverse Drano. Usually you want to be positive, you know.
I couldn't think of anything that you purposely stick down your drain to clog stuff up.
Right.
The only time I could think of that was when I had a roommate who decided to shave in the sink. That clogged up our pipes.
What did he have? Like a 10-year growth beard or something?
That was a couple of weeks.
And that could really clog the entire sink?
Yeah, it was ugly.
Well, it sounds like it.
Here's Cretin-Derham Hall. And that pass intercepted by Lieberman. And they'll whistle him for offsides. Somehow I think reverse Drano is going to appear on Twitter coming up when you tweet after the game.
I might hashtag
Yeah, you might have to do that.
Eden Prairie clogs the zone like reverse Drano.
Oh man, I'm not gonna live down that analogy.
When I say it like that, it sounds pretty bad.
Yeah, there you go. In the corner, it's Lieberman. And there's a shot rising like a phoenix by Charlie Houge. That went over the net. And it will be icing against Eden Prairie with the face-off down in the EP zone. And you can tune in to just about every Eden Prairie hockey game right here on PSB Media, streaming on psbmn.com. We will have the vast majority of the games, with the exception of maybe a couple that we won't be able to make, but now you're home for broadcasts here of the Eden Prairie boys hockey team. And don't forget, if you'd like to have your team's game streamed, no matter the sport or the team, we can do so here at PSB Media, whether it's one game or an entire season. Contact our production team at psbmn.com.
And of course, that could be any level. If you want your mites or pee-wees, you know, youth hockey, varsity hockey, JV hockey, you name it.
Here comes a breakaway for Cretin, trying to cut into the lead, but DeRocher able to fool Kirby Rice as his shot went wide. A little bit of a cat and mouse game there between DeRocher and Rice, and DeRocher got Rice to bite.
Yeah, DeRocher just kind of stuck his stick out, and Rice didn't quite know how to stick handle quick enough back to the center. So a good job by the goaltender to win that battle.
2-on-1 for Cretin, and not able to get that pass to connect. Here's Middlestad on the near side. Aguilar across the rail at the top of the circle, takes a shot, and that one came close to going in. Did that hit the outside of the post there, Kevin? Didn't have a very good angle.
I don't think it hit the post, but it just trickled along the backside of the crease.
Didn't hear the post at all, and here's Rail. And push it up ahead. It's Middlestad into the slot. And Middlestad not able to work through that sandwich check of Cretin-Derham Hall defenders.
Yeah, nice job by Sam Wackman to stand up Middlestad. Rare case where he'll get tied up. So adept at skating past those defenders and using his quickness and stick handling ability.
And here comes Rise, sending that across to Janich. Louis Rail again. God, it seems like Rail's been on the ice for the entire period. Every time they're back at their own blue line, seems like I'm calling Louis Rail's name. A workhorse in this game. It's tied up in the near side corner here in the Cretin-Derham Hall zone. Send it across to Andy Aguilar. Now it's Janich. in the circle. Steered away by DeRocher. And watch out, foot race here between Graham and Flood. Flood able to hit that over to Hartnell. Goldenau waits for his teammates to clear up at the blue line. Goldenau and the referee had to avoid a check there from the Cretin-Derham Hall player. And nice defensive play by Goldenau to spin around and swat that away from danger. I'll drop it for Lieberman. Lieberman avoids Janich. Odd angle shot blocked by the goaltender for Cretin-Derham Hall, Trent Jantz. Again with good numbers on the season. 891 save percentage and a 265 goals against. His counterpart DeRocher also with excellent numbers, 133 goals against and 950 save percentage. He's given up just one goal in tonight's game. Overshoot Argosinger on the outlet pass. That one was tipped on its way to DeRocher. And they nearly turn it over there from the end line, but recover enough to hit it away. Now it's tied up in the corner. Cretin-Derham Hall sends that to the slot to Smith, but he gets blasted off the puck. Now looks like Argosinger and Sullivan. And that fluttering shot will inadvertently hit Gunnar McClellan and cause the offsides whistle. Mulch Store has the best compost you'll find in the entire Midwest. Even though we're still a few months away from spring, not too early to start making those landscaping plans. It's a way to make your neighbors green with envy. With the best landscaping materials you'll find in the Midwest, they deliver all over the metro area. Online at mulchstoremn.com. That's mulchstoremn.com. Smith now pass it over to the left wing, out of the end wall. The players will collide. And there's a high shot, stick down. Raiders trying to dig it out from the corner. And it's Johannes who got tied up. Passed over to the left side. Rail will bank it off the wall into Cretin-Derham Hall zone. Now Johannes dangles and trying to go back door to Pizon. Johannes putting on a bit of a dangle fest here in the third period.
Probably should have just taken that shot. He was already into the slot. But again, Eden Prairie is so good in the offensive zone. Wanted to be a little more selfless that time, though.
Now at center ice, it's Graham. And he couldn't, they're going to whistle him for offsides as he tried to drop it to Tyler Safgren. We're on Twitter at PSBMN, as we'll be tweeting mostly about Southwest Metro hockey with the schools we cover, Eden Prairie, Jefferson, and Kennedy, but we'll also keep you updated on what's going on around the metro area as PSBMN, our Twitter handle. 7:10 remains in the third period. It's 4-1 Eden Prairie on top of Cretin-Derham Hall. Safgren from the far side. Prairie trying to hit it outside the zone, and now it's whistled dead. Athlete PT provides training for athletes around the metro area to enhance your on the field, on the ice performance. Doesn't matter the sport, Athlete PT will get you performing at peak levels for the state-of-the-art facility located in the Golden Triangle of Eden Prairie. Championships are won when you're training before the season, not during. It's Athlete PT online at athleteptonline.com. There's a shot from just below the blue line by Hubner, which got deflected wide. It's Safgren hitting that up ahead to Graham. As Graham got taken down to the ice by Decker. Raiders just kind of hanging around here in this game, trailing by 3 goals. You think if they can maybe pop one in before the 4-minute mark, get themselves in position to try to get back in it.
It was around this time the JV team for Eden Prairie was down 4-0 in the earlier game today, and Got 2 quick goals to make it interesting. They did lose, though, 4-3.
Yeah, wasn't that a sequence of like 10 seconds or something?
Yeah, I think 17.
Bang, bang, yeah. I believe that was the first loss of the season for Eden Prairie's JV team, which has been very dominant so far this year. And the referee will blow that dead. It looks like we might get a penalty coming up, I think, against Louis Rail. Referee calling him over to the box. Well, Cretin-Derham Hall is going to get their 5th power play on the night.
You're talking right about this time. Still some time on the clock, so can get something on this power play, putting themselves in a position to try to mount a comeback. One step at a time, though. They got to finally figure out this Eden Prairie penalty kill.
Yeah, even though they've had, this is their 5th power play, they've not had many grade A chances. They can score on this power play. They're back in business. As here's Rise trying to work through a Boldenau check. Now push it up to the point to Sam Wackman. Across to Smith. Here's Smith from the far near side. His pass across blocked. Neat move there by Wackman. Across to Smith. His shot blocked by Lieberman. Heads up defensive play by the sophomore defenseman. Rise across to Wackman. Out of the circle they go to Smith. Smith threads it across at a body on the way. Now down low, DeRocher able to scoop that up. With 1:01 left on the power play.
It was outstanding instinct by Lieberman. Put himself in a good position. We've seen that all season long where he's just so quick to react to a play, pass, and can foreshadow what exactly the offensive set is going to do. And got in front of what would have been a good look from the right face-off circle.
Raiders from the point, still able to hold it in. That's Hugo Hartkell. We tried to thread it down low to McClellan, who looked like he had a clean path to the net, but again, broken up by the EP defense. Now it's Decker. Over to Wolf. Out front, it's covered up by DeRocher. With 38 seconds left on the power play. Had good puck possession here on the man advantage, but again, not many good opportunities. And that's cleared away by the Eagles. And might put Cretin-Derham Hall down to just one last rush before the Eagles go full strength. Here's Argetsinger, he'll draw a penalty. As that one gets deflected into the netting, so that'll do it here for the 5th power play. As the Raiders will pick up a penalty of their own. Good job there by Argetsinger, hustling on the penalty kill to draw that penalty. So we'll be 4-on-4 for 22 seconds before a slightly abbreviated Eden Prairie power play. As it's sent over to Boldenau. One-touch pass up ahead to Middlestad. Middlestad gets checked off the puck, leaves it for Graham though. And Middlestad trying to dangle his way to the slot, but he got spun around. Here comes Getz, his shot wide. And it goes in the net. Boy, how did that go in? What a crazy carom. It's 4-2.
DeRocher went out to play it off the back wall, and it looked like it hit the back part of his body and deflected right in. He saw where the puck had rebounded, went to make the play, but I guess it looked like his body couldn't get fully turned around to cover up, and it hit his lower half.
If we could get the replay slowed down just a little bit, as again, some new gear we're working with, but boy, what a turn of events after it looked like Eden Prairie ready to go on a power play to put the game away. It's now 4-2, but the Eagles do have a man advantage for another minute 15.
So is that technically a shorthanded goal?
I think it was, yeah. It was kind of bang on when the player was coming out of the box.
Credit the backboards with the goal.
Yeah, just about, you have to.
Scoring for your Raiders, number 9.
What a weird goal. So Gens will get credit with a goal. There's 45 seconds left here on the man advantage. And Cretin-Derham Hall getting the goal at about the 3-minute mark. And now a penalty coming up against Cretin-Derham Hall, or against Eden Prairie. I was writing on my score sheet as that happened. Actually, it's Eden Prairie picking up a penalty, I should say. Well, they almost had a breakaway goal there. That would have made things very interesting.
Well, Eden Prairie fans were upset because the penalty was called against Lieberman, and it seemed like he was the one that was impeded, but they'll get Lieberman for the penalty instead, so we'll play 4-on-4 now for 22 seconds, and then Cretin-Derham Hall, another opportunity. So got that very fortunate goal moments ago, and this game's not quite out of reach yet for the Raiders.
Well, kind of a frantic end here to the game. As you hear the Cretin-Derham Hall fans start to make some noise. Yeah, so 4-on-4.
They're calling a penalty shot now because of that Lieberman impingement.
You're right, that makes sense because it did look like a pretty clear path to the net, so how about that? Let's go, penalty shot. Boy, this would make things interesting, taking it as Rise. Rise makes some moves and scores! It's a one-goal game! Nick Rise this time being patient as he waited for DeRocher, and it's 4-3.
That was an outstanding play by Rise.
Yeah, take a look. Got DeRocher kind of sprawling.
He beat DeRocher to the top of the crease with a little bit of a quick move at the end and just slung that around. A nice challenge there by DeRocher, but a better play by Rise to finish.
Well, it's 4-3. How about that? With 2:20 left. All of a sudden, the Raiders just out of nowhere are right back in this game.
Sometimes it starts with the most random of momentum swings. In the case, that end board bounce.
And it seemed like a good call by the official because it did look like the Cretin player, Rise, had a pretty clear path to the net going back what led to that penalty shot. So we are full strength for both squads with 1:50 left. We're approaching 1:50 and weaving his way into the zone is Wackman. Now it's Nola Sullivan. Now gets played into the corner to Wolf. And in front it's loose, watch out. And hitting it away from dangerous Nolan Sullivan. And that will be icing against Eden Prairie with 1:30 left. Boy, you kind of have the Eagles scrambling right now. I might think about pulling the goaltender here, taking advantage with a face-off in the offensive zone. But looks like they are going to stick with Jantz between the pipes here for the moment. Well, the ending of this one's certainly going to be entertaining. And it looks like we're going to get the timeout here before we'll have the drop of the puck. Well, we have a moment to have a couple of messages to pass along to you. Shout out to a fellow listener and their dear friend Jake Graff. Kid lives for some Eagle puck. That message sent from Jack DeRocher. And we also have, I believe, one other message if I'm reading correctly, as we have Grandma and Grandpa Johannes watching from out of town in Spooner, Wisconsin. They're saying they're watching tonight's game from Spooner following their grandson Hunter Johannes join the live streaming of the game as they couldn't be there, wishing they were there, but pulling for the Eagles. So thank you, Grandma and Grandpa Johannes. His grandson Hunter has had a couple of fancy little moves here in the third period. And a guy who's going to have a bright future on the team, just a sophomore, scored his first varsity goal of the season back on Saturday against Farmington. So again, the situation, have 1:30 left. Eden Prairie in front 4-3 after Cretin-Derham Hall scoring 2 goals in less than 2 minutes to get right back in this game, including the penalty shot by Nick Rise. And it looks like they are going to pull Jans and go 6-on-5. Well, I like the call here with the offensive zone face-off. Might as well go with the extra attacker getting to that time, but a clean win by Eden Prairie, and that one will trickle just wide of the net. So a minute 25 is just 5 seconds were wasted on that. It's the problem of the empty net sometimes when you're the defensive team. You get tempted to try to hit that empty net, but if you miss, you get called for icing. Cretin-Derham Hall wins the faceoff cleanly. Back to the point to Wackman. He'll send it down low to Smith. Smith scored the first goal of the game for Cretin. And now Middlestad out to center ice, and that one will roll just wide and be another icing with a minute 7 left. So face-off back down deep in the Eden Prairie zone. So we've had 2 face-offs deep here in the zone. The first one cleanly by the Eagles, the second by the Raiders. Let's call that a best of 3 now. This one kind of a rubber match, and it's won by Cretin. And that one found its way towards DeRocher, a slow puck through some bodies. Now played over to the far side with under a minute left. It's Hubner tying it up in the corner. And, unable to hold it. Or actually, he did hold it in. That was Wackman. Now loose from the dot, still loose. They'll throw it in front, and that shot goes just over the net. It was deflected, it looks like, on the way, but they had an open net to look at. They go back to the slot with 37 seconds. Raiders putting on the pressure. That one somehow got through to DeRocher. Now to the point, to shot through traffic. Pad save by DeRocher. Couple of monster saves here in the closing minute. 25 seconds left, and now that pass deflected. And still hit up ahead. 18 seconds left. It's out at neutral. And that one might be deflected. Hits the goalpost with 13 seconds. The Raiders have one last gasp left with 8 seconds to go. 5 seconds in the corner. It's tied up in the corner. Can they dig it out for one final shot? 2 seconds, one. And that'll do it as Eden Prairie hangs on for a 4-3 victory after a frantic flurry of Cretin-Derham Hall shots at the end of the game. So a game that looked like the Eagles had control in the third period, nearly got away from them, but they hang on and win this one 4-3 over the Cretin-Derham Hall Raiders. We'll take a timeout and have the Sun Current post-game show on the way next here on PSB Media.
The Sun Current is proud to be your community news leader for over 50 years. Each week you can read their in-depth coverage on local government, school district news, high school sports matchups, community events, and newsmakers. The Sun Current's website is now mobile user-friendly and provides breaking local news coverage daily. Check it out at current.mnsun.com.
And welcome back here to Highland Arena in St. Paul. A frantic finish to this game, as it is Eden Prairie hanging on to beat Cretin-Derham Hall 4-3 after 2 of the stranger goals you'll see this season that Cretin scored to make it 4-3. But in the end, it was DeRocher with a couple of big saves at the end, as again, Eden Prairie wins by 1 goal. Let's give you a recap of tonight's game and the scoring. In the first period, it was Michael Graham scoring at the 13:50 mark. Graham from Middlestad on the goal. And Eden Prairie scored again just a few seconds later at 13:47. This time it was Sullivan scoring to make it 2-0 EP. And the Eagles found the back of the net again at 4:45 of the first period. It was Lieberman on a good crossing pass on a 2-on-1 from Casey Middlestad to make it 3-0 after 1 period. In the second period, after Cretin-Derham Hall put some good pressure on early in the second, Eden Prairie was able to kind of get what at the time looked like a back-breaking goal, scored at 12:25 by Sullivan. That made it 4-0. But just a minute 7 later, Cretin-Derham Hall got on the scoreboard for the first time. It was Ryan Smith scoring his second goal of the season, and that's where we stood after 2, a 4-1 EP. Third period, we had a crazy finish to the game. At about the 3-minute mark, it was Gens getting a credit for the goal, even though it took a weird deflection off the end wall and bounced off of DeRocher into the back of the net. That made it 4-2. Then a penalty shot just about a minute later. by Nick Rise was able to deke out DeRocher and make it 4-3. And the Raiders had a mad scramble in the final minute with a couple of good looks at the goal, but they weren't able to bury it, with DeRocher coming up with some good saves, as our final score ended up being 4-3. Power plays on the night. Cretin-Derham Hall finishes 0 for 5. Eden Prairie's power play will finish 0 for 2. So a good matchup here at Highland Arena. Very entertaining game, as again the Eagles hang on and win this game 4-3 after it looked like they had this one well in control. A nice rally by the Raiders to show some heart, but they come up just short and will fall to 2-3-1 on the season. Eden Prairie, on the other hand, will move to 5-0. The Raiders' next game will be coming up on Thursday. They'll host Stillwater in their first Suburban East Conference game. Eden Prairie will play on Friday against their Section 6 rival, Benilde St. Margaret's. That will be a game we'll have for you here on PSB Media. Always entertaining when the Red Knights and the Eagles hook things up. This has been the Sun Current Show on PSB. The Sun Current, your community news source for over 50 years in the Southwest Metro, whether it's arts, entertainment, school board news, and also other community events. It is the Sun Current. That's current.mnsun.com, current.mnsun.com. For Kevin Hagstrom, this is Brett Johnson signing off this evening. Again, final score, Eden Prairie tops Cretin-Derham Hall by a score of 4-3 right here on PSB Media.
Thanks for tuning in to live local play-by-play of tonight's game.